Next, exercise 27. So we are given two elements A and B from a group, from some group, and we are also given any integer n. We have to prove that these two things are equal, these two elements are equal. So we will first prove this result for any positive integer n using induction on n, and then we will handle the case where n can be 0 and n can be negative. We first prove for positive integers n. Induction on n. The case n equal to 1, which will be our base case, is particularly easy. We have A inverse BA to the power 1 by definition is A inverse BA itself. Again, in this B can be written as B to the power 1. So that means when n is 1, our identity is true. Now assume that we have this for some positive integer n, then to the power n plus 1, this will be equal to times A inverse BA. By our assumption, which is the induction hypothesis, this can be replaced with this. This A and A inverse will give us identity which will vanish, and we will have this element A inverse B to the power n B A, which ultimately gives us this. This completes the induction. So that means our identity is true for any positive integer n. Next, it's also, one can see, is trivially true for n equal to 0, because by definition this is identity, and identity can be written like this: A inverse identity A because A inverse A gives us identity, and the middle identity, in its place we can write b to the power 0. So our result is true also for 0 exponent. Now the case left for us to show is when n is negative. Next, assume that n is negative. Then by the definition of negative integral power of a group element, this is equal to A inverse BA inverse. I think it's better to write in the next line. Excuse me. A inverse BA inverse whole to the power minus n. That is the meaning of this negative power. Now here we can apply the usual group theoretic law. How we calculate the inverse of a product of two group elements? We multiply their inverses, but the order is reversed. So we are going to use the extended version of that. So here the entire order will be reversed. First we take the inverse of A, then the inverse of B, and then we write the inverse of A inverse. To the power minus n. So this gives us A inverse, B inverse, and this becomes A. We have already proved it in one of the previous exercises. I think the exercise just before this, exercise 26, there itself we proved this, that this is equal to A to the power minus n. Now since minus n is a positive integer, so by what we have already proved above, this will be equal to this. And since minus n is positive, so by definition this is this. So this we have verified the formula for verified the identity for all the cases, or for all integers n. So this completes our solution. Then exercise 28. If A1, A2, etc. An belong to a group, what is the inverse of this product? We will just mention the inverse. However, I think the solution will be complete only when one proves that our expression is actually the inverse, and the proof can be carried out by induction. So since I am going to write a one-line solution, so let me just write the solution here itself. when you take the inverse of this element, then you get this. You reverse the entire order and take the inverses of individual elements. A1 inverse. That's all I am going to write, but I want you to actually prove that this is true by induction on n. That's what I want you to do. So my solution ends here, but this is not the complete solution. Okay, then so this is 28. After this we have 29. The integers 5 and 15 are among a collection of 12 integers. That form a group under multiplication modulo 56. List all 12. So 5 and 15 are given to be two elements of a group which has 12 elements, and the operation is multiplication modulo 56. We have to find all the 12, and the elements are this: 5, all powers of 5 will be there. So 5 square is 25. 25 modulo 56 is 25 again. 5 cube is 125, but modulo 56, that turns out to be equal to 13. Like that, 5 to the power 4 is 9. 5 to the power 5 is 15. No, sorry, it's not 15, it's 45. You can verify these calculations using a calculator, or if you want, you can do it by hand also. And 5 to the power 6 is 1. So after this, if you continue, 5 to the power 7 will again be 5, and these things will the things will cycle among these values, so you won't get anything new. Then we concentrate on 15. Now instead of finding powers of 15, what we do, we multiply 15 with these other elements of the group that we have found and calculate those products modulo 56. So that will likely give us other elements. 15 of course is obtained by multiplying 15 with 1, and then we have 5 times 15. Modulo 56, this becomes 19. Then 25 times 15. Modulo 56, this becomes 39. Then 13 times 15. Modulo 56, this one is 27. Then 9 times 15 is 23. 9 times 15, then 45 times 15. Modulo 56, this becomes 3. And 5 times 15 we have already written. So how many we have gathered so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So these are all the elements in the group. With respect to multiplication mod 56, these numbers form a group. Exercise 30. Give an example of a group with 105 elements. Give 2 examples of groups with 44 elements. So we will give these examples from the groups that we have come across, we have seen so far, that is dihedral group, cyclic group, those things. I'm just going to simply write like this. C105 denotes a cyclic group of order 105, which you already know how to construct. You can consider the group of integers I mean starting from 0 to 104, these integers will form a group under addition modulo 105, which will have 105 elements, and this will be a cyclic group. So you can take this example, and for groups of order 44 we can give these 2 examples. One is a cyclic group of order 44, another is a dihedral group of order 44, which is D22. This one is abelian, this one is non-abelian. So these are 2 different, actually they are 2 different groups, but in a slightly different sense. They are really different. They are not like the 2 groups that we discussed in one of the previous exercises, which have a sort of relationship, mirror relationship between them. That thing is not possible with D22 and C44, simply because one of them is abelian and the other is not. So we cannot, although they have the same number of elements, we cannot put their elements into a one-to-one correspondence, such that their Cayley tables will look exactly the same. That is not possible. Exercise 31. Prove that every group table is a Latin square. Group table means Cayley table. That is each element of the group appears exactly once in each row and each column. And this will happen because of exactly once, at most once. That is because of the cancellation laws, and at least once, that is because of the fact that in a group certain linear equations can be solved. Okay, so let G be a group. Okay, they have said group table. I am not entirely sure that this is applicable to infinite groups, because for infinite groups also, well, for some of them you cannot think of a table. If you consider the group of real numbers under addition, can you really think of a table for such a group? I mean, what will you do? How many rows and how many columns will you consider? Unlike the case with integers, which you can somehow think of having a Cayley table which has infinitely many rows and infinitely many columns, one for each integer, one row for each integer and one column for each integer, which you can think of yourself as lying in the middle of the column, where in the middle of the table, where the table extends in all directions of the two-dimensional plane, and you can make sense of the individual boxes as having the group elements which will come from an operation like one integer plus another integer. Say we have the binary operation addition. Okay, in this case you cannot do even that, because the number of rows and number of columns will be uncountable, so you cannot even think of such a table. So to be on the safe side, I am assuming finite group. Let G be a finite group. Okay, let A be any element of G. or let us take two elements. Let A and B be any elements of G. Now what we are trying to show is this. First we want to show that when you form the Cayley table for such a group, then A and B will appear in some rows, some columns, according to how we are writing or how we are ordering the elements in the group. Of course, the group elements have no natural order, but in order to form a Cayley table, we have to choose some order. You will say write the identity element first, or you may choose to write the identity element somewhere in the middle or in the last column. That is up to you. So the thing here is that B appears in some column and some row. Okay. Now I am not going to write in words everything. I will just show the fact. Say B is appearing here in this column, some column somewhere. Now you want A to appear in this column, which is according to our choice an arbitrary column. To at least say where the column occurs, we have this element B. It is the column for B. Now you want to decide what is the row in which A occurs in this column, that is, in which position does A occur. So that means if that position is X, which also is labeled by some element because it will correspond to some element in the group, then what you are asking is this: when you perform the operation XB, you want it to be A, because then only A will appear here. So you want to find this X, and this X clearly is the element AB inverse. This AB inverse is also an element in the group. It will appear somewhere in the row that corresponds to this element AB inverse. In that row and in the column of B, A will appear. Okay, so that means A will appear in any column that you choose in advance. Here we have chosen that column to be B. In a similar manner, A will appear in other columns also. Okay, so that means any element appears in any column. But can an element appear in one column more than once? The exercise says that is not possible. To show that, suppose A appears in two different places in the same column. Say one in the column or one in the row of this element x1 and another one in the row corresponding to the element x2. Say A is, we have B here. Say A is appearing here as well as A is appearing here. Then according to the way Cayley tables are formed, x1b will be equal to A and x2b will also be equal to A. So that means you have x1b equal to x2b. But then by the right cancellation law, which is true in a group, you would be forced to conclude that x1 is equal to x2. That means this A cannot appear in more than one place in the same column. It will appear in at most one, and in at least one we have already seen that. So that's why every element appears in every column exactly once. A similar argument you can put forward for concluding that every element appears in every row also exactly once. So such structures are called Latin squares. Using these squares we have games also. So these incomplete solutions that I am just giving hints about, I want you to actually completely write the solutions. Hints means not just any hints, almost the whole solution is available here. I have given you the main idea. You just have to write all the things formally in a systematic manner. Okay, then exercise 32. Construct a Cayley table for U12. U12 consists of the positive integers less than 12 and relatively prime to 12. So let's form the Cayley table. It will have how many such integers are there. That number you can find by calculating the Euler phi function value of 12, which we already know how to do. 12 has two prime factors, 2 and 3. So you just multiply 12 with these things. So this gives us what? 1 by 2, so we get 6, and here we get 2, that means 4. So there are 4 numbers less than 12 and relatively prime to, and in fact because 12 is quite small, so one can easily find those 4 numbers, and those 4 numbers are 1, 5, 7 and 11. So we will have we need 4 numbers, means we will need 5 places. One, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so let us write the elements 1, 5, 7 and 11. We decide to write these numbers in their natural order. Now without thinking too much about it, just let's complete the table. Since 1 is the identity, so the row and column corresponding to 1, they will have entries like this, and then the rest of the places are filled up like this. You can calculate the values and you can see that what we are writing here is, these are actually correct. So this is the Cayley table for U12. There are of course many more exercises. Shall I do one more? The thing is that it's already I think it's 4 AM right now, so I will have to stop the video here. The morning prayer is also there. Not that I pray, but the thing is that if I don't stop now, I mean we will do another problem, then I won't have any time to sleep. So exercise 33. So let us solve this one and then we will finish. Suppose the table below is a group table. Fill in the blank entries. Okay, so we have a table here. The reason for filming these videos at night is that during the day there is too much background noise, so you won't be able to hear what I am saying properly. So that's why nighttime is preferable. Okay, so here we are given some elements E, A, B, C, D. Do I need to put ink at this very last moment? I think I do. E, A, B, C, D. Now these are the entries that are given: E, B, C, D, E. Okay. Oh, A, B, C, D, N. What have I written here? B, C, D, E. C, D, okay, yes. B, C, D, E. And then D, E, A. And here we have B. Okay, so besides these, we have this E also. Now the remaining places are vacant. We have to fill in these places and complete the table. Now in doing so, we have to take the help of that Latin square property. We should also realize that this E indicates the identity. E denotes the identity. So we first fill these places, like how we would write a row and column for the identity element A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. Okay. Now here in the row corresponding to B, you can see that only A has not appeared. Since every element has to appear in every row, so A has to appear here. Now you can attack the last column. In this last column, only C has not appeared, so you have to put C here. Okay. Now what about this? Here we have A, B, C and D, so E has to be put here. Okay, so what else is left? Did I forget to write anything else? No. Okay, what can we possibly put here? Here in these two places, both the elements are not there. Okay. So how do I decide what appears where? A, B and E have already appeared here. So B, the only things that have not appeared are C and D. Now that C I cannot put here because C is already present here in this column. So I have to put D here. That is the only option. Now because of this, here we have A, E, D, C, so I must have B here. And now look at this last row, that tells me I should have A here. And finally we must have C here. So that's how, using the property that a group table is a Latin square, we have been able to complete the table. So with this I would like to end the video here itself. Unfortunately, due to time restriction, the previous video I just completed its uploading. It took a lot of time, so it took almost, I uploaded it in say half an hour, but then the processing took a lot of time. Anyway, so that's all for tonight. So this is me, Lucifer, from a mathematical room. Have a nice night.